Hey everybody, it's Rykard here again, back with another black and white Pokemon analysis. Today we're going to be discussing the trap Pokemon known as Maggyo. So let's get started by taking a look at its typing, abilities, and stats. So first off, Maggyo has some very unique typing, which is that of ground electric. And now, this is really cool for the fact that obviously you're immune to electric type moves, and you also resist flying and poison and rock and steel, which is great. But at the same time, you're weak to water, ice, grass, ground, and that's it. So basically, it's really weird typing for the reason that you are an electric type, but you're also weak to water type moves, which you're supposed to be, countering, and that's why you're there. But unfortunately, you are. So that's really something you kind of have to get around with this typing. But it's still really unique and is definitely something that hasn't been seen before in a previous game, so I kind of like it a lot just for that purpose. But as for the abilities, the first one it gets is known as Static, which is an awesome ability that gives you a chance to paralyze your opponent whenever they use a contact move. And there's a 30% chance of this happening. So a contact move would be like any punching move or things like that. And basically it's moves from the physical side, but with the exception of Grass Dot, which is a special move that makes contact. But all those things apply to activate Static, which is really cool. As for its next ability, it's known as Limber, which is kind of a weird ability to put on this Pokemon since it is a part ground type, meaning that it can't be paralyzed by means of Thunder Wave. But if you do use the ability Limber, there is no way that you can get paralyzed by any move. So moves that are the side effect of Body Slam or Glare even can't paralyze you, even with Limber. But seeing as you're also a ground type, chances are the majority of times your opponent is going to be purposely trying to paralyze you will be with Thunder Wave. So it doesn't really matter too much on this Pokemon, but still can be used, I guess. And then Sandveil, its Dreamworld ability, is a cool ability that makes it so that you have increased evasion in a sandstorm, meaning that there is a chance for moves to miss just because you have this ability. And that's really cool, and in the first set of this video you're going to see a really interesting way to play off of this ability. But as for the stats, it has 109 HP coupled with 84 defense and 99 special defense, meaning that this Pokemon has really good defenses all around and can definitely take a hit or two from your opponents. Obviously, its special defense is higher, but regardless, you still have some pretty good physical defense to work with and a really, really good HP number to max out in order to allow you to take the most hits possible. As for its attacking stats, though, it has 66 physical attack and 81 special attack, which means that you're probably more often going to be using the special attack with this guy if you want to make a offensively special set. But its physical attack still is useful for the fact that this Pokemon can learn Curse, which you will see in a later set as well. But for the special side, it learns a plethora of special type attacks that can be put to great use and allow it to do a lot of damage from that side. As for its speed, though, it is only 32, which is kind of unfortunate, meaning that this Pokemon really won't be that fast by any means, but the fact that you get Static as an ability can completely somewhat remedy that problem because obviously your opponent being paralyzed will then make them slower than you unless they're ridiculously fast to begin with. But for the most part, it's very manageable because of the fact that you get the Static ability. But with that, let's take a look at a few sets for this guy. So in this first set, we're going to give Maggyo a Modest Nature to increase its special attack but lower its physical attack, and then we're going to be making use of the ability Sandveil so that we can have increased evasion in the supposed sandstorm that will be up on your side of the field. As for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into HP to give you max HP, 4 for defense for 1 point in that, and then 252 into special attack to give you your max special attack. As for the item, we're going to be making use of leftovers to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. As for the moves, though, they're all going to be, or at least the first two, are going to be working in conjunction with your ability Sandveil, because Sandveil, as I said, gives you increased evasion, so the first move in the set, known as Muddy Water, has a chance to lower your opponent's accuracy. It's also a really powerful water-type move. It has the same power as Surf, but it has less accuracy, which is kind of unfortunate, but it has the added bonus of the chance to lower your opponent's accuracy. So with the Sand Veil up and Muddy Water in place, and with an accuracy drop hopefully from that, you will actually be very difficult to hit because of that reason. Next, though, we have Mud Bomb and Mud Slap, whichever one you want to use. Mud Bomb has a less chance to cause an accuracy drop, where Mud Slap always causes an accuracy drop, so that's really cool. But Mud Bomb is significantly more powerful than Mud Slap, so it's actually a decent special attacking move, as opposed to just using Mud Slap for the accuracy drop. But both are, I guess, viable to use in the set because of the point of it being to lower your opponent's accuracy to make you very difficult to hit, and then obviously taking advantage of your special attack EVs and nature, or plus special attack nature, to do damage to whatever you're up against. Lastly, though, we have Discharge as your other attacking move, which is a good stab electric move that you can use, and it has a 30% chance to paralyze, which is always great, because we aren't using static as our ability, and this Pokemon is fairly slow. Thunderbolt would work equally well because, I mean, it has more power, but it doesn't have the extra chance of paralysis, which I prefer over that, in my opinion, because if you paralyze something, that gives you a chance to attack twice, whereas if you don't, and you just have a more powerful attack, you will only, I mean, you'll be doing less damage in that sense, but that's like the ideal situation where you paralyze after one discharge, but you know what I mean. And then lastly, we have Pain Split as your last move to make use of in order to allow you to recover HP that you might be losing from the damage you take in battle, obviously. But it's a good egg move that this Pokemon can definitely use and take advantage of. Up next, we have this set where we're going to be giving Maggyo an Adamant Nature to increase its physical attack, but lower its special attack. And then we're going to be using the ability Static this time, so that we have the chance to paralyze your opponent by them attacking you with a physical contact move, or special contact move. But for the EVs, we're putting 252 into HP, 4 for attack, and 252 into special defense. So this will give you the max special defense you can possibly get with an Adamant Nature, and also max HP. As for the item, again, we're going to be making use of leftovers. The moves this time, however, are going to be centered around using Curse in order to increase your physical defense and physical attack. So even though this Pokemon doesn't have the best physical attack in the world, as I said before when we were looking at stats, it still has access to Curse as an egg move, and it can definitely make use of it in order to boost its defenses as well. And obviously this Pokemon has great defenses, as I explained earlier before, so Curse is definitely a viable option when trying to set up and also be defensive at the same time. But with the curses, we're going to be making use of Earthquake as your main stab ground type move, Bounce or Payback, depending on which one you want to make use of. I personally would go with Bounce just because you have a chance to paralyze your opponent, and also because you have the static ability, so you have a greater chance to paralyze your opponent by using a move and your ability. And it also gives you better type coverage than Payback would, because Bounce is super effective against grass types that are super effective against your typing. So that's always a cool thing I like to think about in terms of type coverage, like being able to super effective things that would normally come in and try to take you out with a super effective move. But that's just my opinion. But you could go with Payback, and you're more than welcome to, obviously, because it gets increased power when you go second, so it'll be doing quite a bit of damage after a couple of curses. And then lastly, we're going to be making use of Revenge, because it's an awesome fighting type move that doubles in power when you're attacked the turn before. And I realize that you are going to be using Static as your ability, so Revenge actually won't be as powerful if you paralyze them and are going first, but because of the fact that you're cursing up so much, or you're hopefully cursing, you'll still probably be slower despite your opponent being paralyzed. So Revenge can definitely be used regardless of what you want, or of what your speed is. But it's a great fighting type move for more coverage and can do quite a bit of damage when it's boosted to 120 power after you go second, or after you're hit by an attack and then you go second. Lastly, we have a multiple status inducing sleep talk set for Maggyo. So first we're going to give it a bold nature to increase its defense but lower its physical attack. And then we're either going to be making use of the ability Static or Sand Veil, depending on whether or not you want your opponents to potentially be paralyzed. As for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into HP to give you max HP, and then 128 into both your physical and special defense to give you some nice bulk in that area, or in both of those areas, meaning that you can definitely take hits from both sides fairly easily. Again, leftovers will be the item of choice because this time we're trying to survive as long as possible to spread the most status and also outlive your opponents when they are statused. But as for the moves, this time we're first going to be making use of Boiling Water, which is a good base power special water type move that has a 30% chance to burn your opponent. And this is great because you do have some pretty good physical defense with the nature and the EVs into that stat, and after a burn, your opponents who are trying to attack physically really won't be doing a lot of damage to you at all. So that's a great thing to use in combination with your defenses. As for the next move though, it's going to be Sludge Bomb, which has a 30% chance to poison your opponent. And that can definitely be used easily with this set because of the fact that you're bulky and you can easily rest away any damage you take. And obviously with rest, we're going to be using Sleep Talk as a way to continue attacking when we're sleeping. But this set's actually really freaking cool because of the ridiculous amounts of ways you can status your opponent. As I said, static will come into play if you're up against a physical attacker because you are going to be getting hit by a contact move, more than likely at least. So using boiling water and static in combination with each other for terms of hitting to crippling a physical type is really up to which you prefer. Because obviously you can't predict when static is going to happen, but you could actively use boiling water to try and get burned. But you kind of see where I'm going at here. But because you're resting and sleep talking with this set and have high defenses, it's going to be very difficult to take down, which is great. But that is it for Maggyo. If any of you were paying attention, I put this, or at least I put a video up of this Pokemon like a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week, and one of the people commented on the video saying that I made a bunch of sets that were illegal because of the fact that I was stupid and put some egg moves on the sets that can't actually be with other moves in the egg move pool. So this time it's completely plausible, all of these sets. So thank you, person that told me that, and I hope that these ones are better than the previous sets that I put up. But that is it. So take care, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.